I think my girlfriend is going to break up with me after I did some questionable things. I'm in the most loving and giving relationship with my girlfriend of 3 years. I just need advice because she messaged me this morning asking to talk and I think she's going to break up with me. It started a couple months ago when we were at the mall and she saw a ring from a jeweler that she really liked. She makes good money, and the ring would be easy for her to buy. When the saleswoman started talking to her, eager for the sale, I blew my fuse a bit and started walking off. She followed me and asked where I was going, and I got annoyed and snapped at her. I said something like, "I get that you want to buy the stupid ring, so go buy it," and stormed away from her. She tried to hold my hand and say something, but I shooed her away and left. She ended up taking a Uber home because I drove us. I drove to her house and told her to come outside. I explained myself that it made me insecure and emasculated for her to outright buy a $300 ring, and it made me feel bad that I couldn't buy that for her. She forgave me and we eventually made up. A month later we got into another big fight. We were out shopping and a guy came up to her while she was waiting for me to come back from the washroom and was obviously flirting with her. She politely turned him away and stated she had a boyfriend. This happened so frequently that it really made me stew over all the times it happened, and I did something that I acknowledged was wrong. When we were at a candle store and some workers were speaking to me and flirting a little, I reciprocated in front of my girlfriend. She didn't say a word. When we were in the car I asked sarcastically if she liked how it felt to see some random people flirt and come onto your partner in public in front of you. She didn't say a word again. The breaking point was when I picked a fight over the same thing 2 nights in a row. We were at my place and she asked if I wanted to go out to eat, and I said I was craving this new restaurant that just opened up. She said she was just going to rest her eyes while I got dressed and ready. She closed her eyes for maybe 5 minutes and I ended up telling her that I really should save my money and that we didn't have to go out. She insisted and I snapped a bit and said that I wanted to save money and that I didn't have a cushy job like her. She didn't say anything, but once again asked if I wanted to go and I said absolutely not. So she left. I got really angry and I started texting her that she knew I really wanted to go get food from that place, that I was starving and why couldn't she have just gone and taken me. It was irrational on my end, I admit it. We ended up making up after that fight. The next night she was driving me home and she asked if I wanted anything to eat. I said no, and reminded her that I'd rather save my money since I was unemployed. She acknowledged that and dropped me off at home. When she left, I blew up her phone with texts telling her she didn't care about me or anyone else, that she was selfish, that I was starving and that I wanted food and that now it was nearly midnight and I had to cook myself a meal. She snapped back and asked if she had to be cooking for me at midnight and I called her and screamed that I shouldn't have to beg my girlfriend to make me a meal and spend time with me. She hung up on me. I apologized that same night. She texted me and said she wants to talk and she's coming over in the afternoon. I'm terrified. How do I rectify this situation? How do I apologize? How do I keep my relationship? My wife of 7 years cheated on me. Now, everyone around me wants me to take her back. What should I do? I met my wife 10 years back. We both were in college, dated for 3 years and have been married for 7. She's a wonderful person and my family adores her. 4 months ago, I discovered she was cheating on me with a friend we both know. It was a 1.5-month fling. She was acting suspicious then. She would overlook my messages and reject me every time I tried to be intimate. I thought something was up. I snooped around but found nothing. Finally, I hired a detective and in a week, I had evidence. She was involved with our friend. I confronted her, and she admitted to the affair. She immediately started weeping and pleading. She did all the typical things people do when they get caught cheating. I demanded all the details, including a detailed timeline, and she told me everything at night. She used a different phone for the affair. She said they were intimate only 4 times and just hung out the rest of the time. 3 days later, more weeping and self-blaming. She said she had cut off all contact with him and would do anything to fix our marriage, suggesting couples therapy. I refused and told her to leave me be. I felt hurt, betrayed, and embarrassed. She went to her parents. She kept texting me about how much she loves me and regrets everything, promising to do anything to save our marriage. After ignoring her for 2 days, I texted her about getting a divorce. She panicked and had an emotional meltdown. My phone was flooded with messages from her family and friends asking me not to end the marriage and to give her a chance. Later, she posted on Facebook about how she messed up and ruined our marriage, openly admitting to the affair. But I was firm in my decision. She even offered to take a lie detector test to prove she hadn't cheated before. I asked her for time to think about all this. We've been living apart since. This was all 4 months ago. Last week, I told her I wanted a divorce and she begged for another chance. She then visited my parents, asking them to persuade me not to divorce. Last night, both our parents tried to convince me to reconcile. After her Facebook post, nearly all our mutual friends praised her honesty and urged me to give her another chance. She's truly sorry and regrets it. I still love her and her betrayal hurts deeply. I'm unsure what to do. For those who have reconciled, how are things? Small update. Thank you everyone for the support. We don't have kids, we were planning to after the pandemic. We own a business together. I've only talked to her about work for 3 months. Here's the update. After reading your messages, I spoke to my parents and said I'm going for a divorce. An hour later, she called, crying, begging me not to. She asked to meet in person, as we hadn't discussed the affair since it was revealed. She wants to explain everything. I agreed to meet her on Sunday for closure, as I'm still in the dark about many details of the affair. That's all, nothing too dramatic. I told my best friend why I wasn't going to his wedding, and now the wedding might be cancelled. I really think I messed up. My close friend Alex and I have been buddies since we were little kids. We're almost like family. After college, we both moved back to our parents' houses to get ourselves sorted out. Alex began dating Stella, a nice girl, about 4.5 years ago, and from the beginning, she seemed to nicely dislike me. I don't know why. Oh well, such is life. Alex and Stella moved far away in 2021 after Stella got a better job. In 2022 Alex asked her to marry him, she agreed, and they planned a wedding for the end of September 2023. I received a save the date card early in the year. From what I talked about with Alex, I thought I would be in the wedding, either as a groomsman or the best man, but I never got any clear word from them. A few months before the wedding, I noticed that wedding invites were sent on social media, and thought mine was coming. It never arrived. I waited a few weeks, thinking it might have been lost in the mail. Before I checked with him, I called Alex and had a short talk where he was clearly upset and said he was busy with a lot, would be unreachable for a while, to send any wedding questions to Stella, and he'd call me when things calmed down. I called, texted, and emailed Stella several times over a week, but she didn't reply to any of them. At this point, I figured I wouldn't be going to the wedding, and that things were really bad between us for some reason. Yesterday, a little over 3 weeks after our last talk, Alex messaged me asking if I was free to talk. I was eager to get some answers. We video chatted, and after saying hello, Alex quickly started explaining that he knew I was really busy with work and dealing with a lot, but he'd be happy if I could come to his wedding, just as a guest, and wanted to know if there was anything he could do to help make that happen. I just burst out that I'd be happy too, but that I hadn't gotten an invite. Alex looked at me in shock and said, "What?" And I just spilled out that I hadn't gotten an invite. That was the reason I had called him a few weeks ago, that I'd tried to contact Stella about it but she never answered me and ignored me, and that I had no clue what he was talking about me being too busy to be in the wedding. After a very long silence, he said he needed to go fix things, and that he'd call me when it was done. My phone's been crazy since then with wedding guests asking me what happened and why the wedding might not happen now. My girlfriend has told me again that I did nothing wrong, but I've had people from everywhere saying I poked my nose where it shouldn't be, and caused trouble, which is really confusing me. I don't know what to do.
I beat the crap out of a pick-me girl and I've never felt so good. I'm a professional boxer. My husband has trained in fighting sports for many years. When we started dating, he introduced me to his gym and his longtime female training buddy. She was the biggest pick-me girl I'd ever met. On my first day, I stood quietly in a skirt, watching them. She came over, inviting me to join, saying he likes sporty girls. I smiled and said no. She was always teaming up with him and talking during breaks. My then boyfriend ignored her and checked if I was okay waiting. I assured him and complimented his boxing. She followed, wrapping her arm around him, and said we're all about roughness, assuming I didn't like fighting. She stood between us and started discussing boxing with him. He was a bit irritated but politely said they'd talk later. She then noticed me and implied I wouldn't understand their talk. I stayed quiet but unamused. Later, he switched training partners. She accused me of being jealous, saying it's just regular training. I was getting really mad but couldn't confront her right. He noticed and suggested we leave. Another time at a grocery store, she brushed past me to chat with my husband. I left to get snacks, and he followed, excusing himself from her. She followed, criticizing my snack choice as unhealthy for boxers. I simply stated I eat what I enjoy. Then she began messaging him occasionally. I was annoyed and told him not to reply. He felt stuck, saying it's just about training techniques. She would tell me they only talk training, but she kept touching him during practice. My patience was almost gone. When I joined them at the gym, she led an overly tough warm-up, tiring everyone. Out of breath, she boasted about the intensity to me. I calmly disagreed with her method. She complained to my husband, who reminded her I'm a professional boxer. Surprised, she suggested we spar, but I declined. She insulted me, saying most female boxers are just for show. Angry, I agreed to spar. She promised to go easy but attacked fiercely. I dodged and questioned her aggression. She was clearly trying to overpower a beginner. Fed up, I started to fight back. I hit her firmly, but not fully. She couldn't keep up. As a boxer, I believe in meeting strength with strength. She thought she could intimidate others, so I taught her a lesson. I treated her like any rival, and after the fight, she backed off. I'll let you know if she bothers me again.
Brother's girlfriend won't stop eating my food, so I made everyone call her Miss Piggy and she had a breakdown. Last month my brother moved in with me and my roommate. When he moved in his girlfriend started spending a lot of time at our place, which was never a problem as my roommate's girlfriend comes over all the time too. My brother's girlfriend pretty much eats all our food. No matter who it is, she will eat anything in sight. My roommate and I have told her multiple times to stop eating the food that we buy, and only eat the food my brother buys, but she completely ignores us and eats our food anyway. We have confronted her and my brother countless times and told them she needs to stop, but she just says, sorry but it's just so good, and my brother refuses to say anything about it or confront her. We both have tried to convince him to stop bringing her over to me and my roommate's house, and just bring her somewhere else, but he doesn't want to. It's gotten to the point where both of us are considering getting a second fridge to put a lock on. We're both sick of it. Brother's girlfriend is a heavy girl and weight is a very touchy issue with her. Well, recently both of us have taken to calling her Miss Piggy when she eats our food. If we ever see her eating our food or after she has, we confront her and call her it. She hates it and freaks out each time she hears us refer to her as Miss Piggy. Honestly though, she still eats our food and so we kept doing it. Today when I got home from work my brother's girlfriend was there. I saw her eating my delicious mac and cheese leftovers I had cooked last night. I told her, wow. I love to come home to see Miss Piggy eating my leftovers that I was looking forward to eating. The last straw for her before she started bursting into tears is when she was eating a guest's food that had slept over, and he started calling her Miss Piggy too. She didn't know that multiple people were let in on the nickname. Before we all started oinking at her, she broke down crying and ran out. She's been calling my brother furiously since and is refusing to come here anymore because apparently I'm a jerk. Am I? We asked her so much to stop and she didn't. I honestly just lost it. We all buy our own food and we have a rule never to touch each other's stuff. She knows this and she still did it, so I think she deserved it.